Let's be off, Watson. A journey will settle my nerves.
As if you had any.
Keep an eye on our backs, will you? More than once I've had the impression that we were being followed.
Your imagination is only slightly smaller than your ego. Why would anyone follow us?
To learn where we go and what we do, and to extrapolate what we know from that. In short, Watson, for information, the world's most valuable commodity. Come along, Watson. The game's afoot.
Quite so, Holmes.
Have you seen Wiggins, Jonas?
Isn't he here? I see so little these days. Likely he's out parading the streets. Or is he on a job for you?
One of the boy's many qualities is that he barely distinguishes work from play. What is that racket, Watson?
The treadles of sewing machines, I imagine.
I mean the voices.
Can you not appreciate the dulcet tones of the Orient, Holmes?
My pedestrian mind cannot appreciate what it cannot understand. If you might spare me a moment, Stitch, I would appreciate it.
Right away, Mr. Holmes. I'm just finishing up with Mrs. Rowbottom.
I'll tell you when we're finished, Mr. Rumsey. I'm paying good money and I expect no less than your undivided attention.
I beg your pardon, madam. Might I have a brief word with Mr. Rumsey?
No, Mr. Rumsey is not free.
I'll grow grey before Mrs. Rowbottom is satisfied.
Claim pressing business, national emergency and so on.
Worthless. I know her type. Obstinate as a mule.
A pointed threat might remove her recalcitrance.
Watson, you surprise me. Besides, have you not remarked the size of her handbag? Who knows what she has in there? Have you chosen a fabric for one of Rumsey's incomparable suits?
In my dreams, Holmes. The practice won't support one at the moment. Perhaps when we're famous.
Among the costumes, the hero of Trafalgar seems a popular choice.
One wonders if the jacket comes sans right sleeve. Perhaps an eye patch may be let.
I've decided on a strategy to shift La Rowbottom.
A subterfuge, then, but not too subtle, I hope. It would be lost on her.
She appears to be a woman whose sense of propriety may be vulnerable to judicious tweaking. Follow my lead.
Try not to be too offensive. She's Rumsey's customer, after all.
The fabric of your frock has become a favourite of the demi-monde.
You've seen it elsewhere?
Indeed. Watson, did we not recently see this particular material at the Chelsea Burlesque?
That young woman whom Bingo Oakshott insists on calling his protégée was draped in it. A dress, wasn't it? What there was of it.
You disremember her dress, but she had it on so briefly. No, it was the drawing-room curtains which she wore as a shawl.
Or was it a towel from the loo? Good day to you, madam.
I'm sorry, Stitch. I had to get rid of her.
Oh, I can live without her custom, Mr. Holmes. Much more trouble than it's worth. If you're looking for a job as a floor walker, I'll hire you.
Has the move to Jermyn Street been advantageous, Stitch?
A bit more money, but I don't laugh so much as I did in Piccadilly.
A more serious sort of clientele comes round here?
They take themselves more seriously anywise. They dress better, more brass, but they're much the same.
I'm not surprised that a man of your experience is undeceived by appearances. What can your practised eye tell me about this button, Stitch?
I'm sure you know its tortoise shell has a continental finish, Dutch maybe. The thread is nothing special, sewn to a coat, I'd say, not off the peg, custom made, but not too dear.
Available locally?
Not here. I've got the largest inventory in England. Help yourself, you need one.
What can you tell me about this hat, Stitch? Anything of interest?
At the risk of dabbling in your line, I'd say the wearer has a oblong head, obviously big, younger man from the blocking. The style and quality bespeak concern, but not obsession with appearance. Colour probably doesn't signify.
And the shop?
De Groot's a competent tailor, imports all his materials from Amsterdam. He serves a comfortable clientele in South Africa.
What can your practiced eye tell me about this button stitch?
I'm sure you know its tortoise shell has a continental finish, Dutch maybe. The thread is nothing special, sewn to a coat I'd say, not off the peg, custom made, but not too dear.
Available locally?
Not here, I've got the largest inventory in England. Help yourself, you need one.
What can you tell me about this hat stitch? Anything of interest?
At the risk of dabbling in your line, I'd say the wearer has a oblong head, obviously big, younger man from the blocking. The style and quality bespeak concern, but not obsession with appearance. Colour probably doesn't signify.
And the shop?
De Groot's a competent tailor, imports all his materials from Amsterdam. He serves a comfortable clientele in South Africa.
Which is more bother, Lestrade being in or being out?
It's a fair question. Seems I'm the only one round here working all hours. Go in if you like. All aboard! Train to Eastham, Cambridge, Newmarket and Norwich.
Fleming's been porter at Magdalen since King Charles lost his head. Marvellous character. Remembers everything. And he's eager to tell it all for a pint or two.
Was Magdalen your college then?
No, my chemistry tutor was a fellow there. I visited his rooms one term.
I've never been clear on your university days. Where did you study when you came
I need to rest, Watson. Wake me when we arrive, will you?
Sleeping? That's fine, wonderful. What about our other inquiries? Any ideas? You think Mycroft is still in danger? Are we? Well, I suppose nothing much can happen on the train.
I'm sure those oars haven't moved since I used to visit here.
The very walls appear to have been built up around them.
Not so old as that, Watson, though sometimes I feel it. The oars came here in the year of my birth. Nothing changes very much in Cambridge, Watson.
I'm sure the pace of change is slow, but the aura of immutability is perpetrated by porters and dons. They are eternal. Everyone else is transient. They have an interest in perpetuating the illusion, and your frozen memory assists them.
It was merely an observation, Watson. Excuse me. Fleming? Fleming, old fellow, how are you? College closed. Fleming, I say rouse yourself, sir. This won't do, Watson. He requires some hair from the dog that bit him.
It must have been a huge dog. Shall I check his pulse?
No need. Collect a couple of bottles of strong ale from the public house we passed, will you? Mind it's not small beer.
Some porter for the porter. Sorry, Holmes.
Would you oblige us, Fleming, with your opinion? We're evaluating this ale.
Happy to assist young gentlemen in the pursuit of knowledge. So for science, as you might say. Excellent. I recognize you, don't I?
I'm pleased to think you might. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Of course you are. Never forget a face, Mr. Holmes. Just takes me a bit longer to focus. You keeping well? Haven't gained a stone since you went down. I read your exploits and beatings. And this is Dr. Watson, is it? Pleased, I'm sure.
Even after all these years, my recollections of this place are so vivid. Is that unusual, Fleming?
Not at all, sir. We are what we remember. As the bard says, even purpose is but a slave to memory.
Is this your bicycle, Fleming? I don't remember you as the foolhardy type.
Certainly not, Mr. Holmes. I'm unsteady enough on my own legs. Some of the young gentlemen take it out for a turn from time to time.
What are these photographs, Fleming?
Young gentlemen of Magdalen, Mr. Holmes. I keep the most recent classes on display. Their families seem to enjoy it.
I need to excavate your prodigious memory, Fleming. May I do that?
I enjoy a good mystery. Dig away, sir.
I saw a tattoo on a corpse. Something about it reminded me of Cambridge.
A view of Trumpington Street.
Nothing so definitive. It's a neatly rendered blooming rose. You're familiar with such a figure?
If it was engraved on the subject's backside, it might be the badge of the Tudor Rose.
The Arcane Social Club? Of course. The symbol of England was their sign. I had no idea those rare birds marked themselves.
Since your time, sir. Been a drinking club for more than a decade, carousing and such. Nothing much secret about it. Old boys are ashamed to be associated with the newer members. University may revoke their charter, is what I heard.
Is the artist the local man?
Jack Canvas in Cheapside designed the tattoo version from an old print drawing. I'm told he recently passed over.
Yes, I should have recognized his hand, but my brain was fixed on the subject matter. The delicate petals set along the brambles and the thorns. Unexpectedly lovely. I've seen the painting, of course.
As a symbol, the old boys was thinking they were England's best.
Some of them proved it, but their successors took to advertising, trying to convince themselves, perhaps.
True quality never commends itself, Mr. Holmes.
The Tudor Rose drew its members from the whole university, didn't it?
Indeed. Over the years, there's been hundreds of initiates.
Do you remember all the Magdalen men?
Their names run together now, but I do recognize most of them.
Regrettably, I don't have a name or a face. We've just time to catch the next train to London.
Fine, but there'll always be another train.
May I leave my card with you?
I'm not his personal secretary, Mr. Holmes.
Nor did I presume it. Perhaps you could send a note to 221B Baker Street when he returns.
I suppose I might. I'll tell him you were here.
I would be grateful for your trouble. Jenkins, I need to speak with Lord Lawton again.
If I disturb him without cause, Mr. Holmes, he won't come out, you won't get in, and I'll be sacked. He's in that foul a mood since the last time.
Is Mr. Silverbridge available now?
Still at his labours. Do you wish to leave a message?
No, I wish to speak with him.
He lacks the leisure and inclination to receive idle persons such as yourselves.
I can be reached at 221B Baker Street. Please tell him that I am available at his earliest convenience. Hello, Charles. I hope this is a better time. We're not interrupting?
No, Sherlock, no, come in. I'm nearly finished with this masterpiece. With you in a minute. Sorry I was so short earlier. How's your brother?
Still with us, thank you. You remember my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson?
Of course. Hello, Doctor. Make yourselves comfortable in the loosest meaning of the word. I'll be with you in a moment.
I'm trying to identify a man, Charles. Might I explore your memory?
You can try. I assume your inquiry is confidential?
Acute as ever. The man figures somehow in the murder of a civil servant. Secrets of state are at risk.
What does he look like?
I've never seen him, but one who did says he's thickly built, fair, with a small discoloration on his bearded face, perhaps a birthmark. He was wearing a dark slouch hat and cape, and he speaks German.
Language is not decisive. He could be German, Austrian, Prussian, Hungarian, Polish, even Russian. Anything else?
Regrettably, no. The witness' vantage point and the lack of light made expression and gait unremarkable. He couldn't even guess at his age.
No one springs to mind, Sherlock. Or rather, 10 men do, but are they in England? Is he a criminal, secret agent, a diplomat? With so little to differentiate them, I'm useless, I'm afraid.
With such meagre details, my hopes were not high.
Give me particulars, man, then maybe I can help. Or if not me, someone I know.
Do you still have associates whom you trust at the Home Office?
Ah, you suspect the involvement of a foreign power, don't you? Yes, I was thinking along those lines myself. Listen,
When you discover the man's identity, I can introduce you to someone who might help.
Thank you, Charles.
A pleasure to see you, Sherlock. You're always onto something intriguing.
Is this profusion of papers really necessary? Place is a fire hazard.
Impossible to have too many papers.
Watson is always at me to cut down on my consumption.
One should never be without a fresh newspaper. No item is more serviceable. Absorbs grease from fish and chips, wraps garbage, or lines a threadbare coat. Use it as a towel, a fan, a sunshade, an umbrella, a dustpan, a carpet, and if worse comes to worse, heaven forfend, you can always read it. Help yourself to the Telegraph. It's hot off the press.
Your argument is exhausting, if not compelling. You've assembled a remarkable group of character portraits.
They are open, if slightly smeared, windows onto our capricious times.
I keep a collection for similar purposes, mostly criminal subjects.
And the small posters are my rogues exhibit, villains all.
The portrait of Kropotkin is revealing.
Admirable man. His major weakness is prophesying war every next fortnight.
Even anarchists need a hobby, I suppose. A picture of our villain would be invaluable, would it not?
Absolutely. But if I understand Mr. Friedman, a second-hand source would be close to worthless.
Fortunately, we know how to avoid that pitfall. Have you seen the man I described to you, Wiggins?
Not dead, sir. I may have done.
Report, please.
I seen a likely bloke on Whitehall, taking in the sights he was. When he jumps in a cab on the Strand, I follows, but I lost him in the crush where the Kingsway meets Aldwych. I just got the one glance, and he slid past me. Sorry, Gav.
Not to worry. Keep your eye out for him.
It was 1 and 6 for the cab.